Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am Fox.
And I'm Dez.
You got a weird look on your face. Yep. Because you didn't think I could do it, but it did it.
No, I was trying to distract you.
Yeah,
You almost did. Oh, it was close,
I was worried. Anyway, good to be talking to you guys again.
We are excited. It's been interesting.
Yes, we got a very specific topic that you've probably heard about already, but we want to
adjust it. But before we get to that, hey Vox, how are you, man? What have you been up to?
Pretty much the same as last time.
Yeah,
playing all the same games essentially. I'm just going to talk about something completely unrelated to nerd stuff right now.
All right.
We have now we have a guest room at our house.
Oh, yeah.
And we've put it on Airbnb.
Nice.
And it's, I mean, my wife was the one who did all of it, and she put it basically at the cheapest you possibly could.
$4.
Like, they're paying like $30 to $40 a night to stay at our house, which is a solid price. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And we're still making money off of it. But that meant we put it up like a week ago, and now somebody already is going to be here for like a week. Like 2 different people have already booked for the next week. Like, so it's just kind of weird having these people that are there right now, possibly in my home right now, which is just strange for me, are from Germany.
Are they going to be there Sunday night when we're recording?
No, I don't think we have anybody Sunday night.
Or are you just going to bring your PlayStation here?
If they're gonna be here Sunday night, I'll come over to your place.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
because we're loud.
Yeah, we.
What? We are. How dare you say that?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same for me. Not much going on other than I just bought a bunch of new cables with the gift card I got for Christmas, and so I'm like doing the Ultra 4K on my TV and trying to get surround sound on my PC. And of course, whenever you're hooking up new cords, it's always a challenge to get everything the right output and whatnot. So working on that stuff. Yeah. But I'm really wanted to get it done because yesterday, we're part of a gamers group. Yesterday, I just saw some dude post is like Nintendo's making a big announcement at 2 p.m. on the East Coast today, like Pacific time, 2 p.m. And I know the last Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, that one Direct blew our minds.
Well, because Nintendo Direct was the day after that we recorded. It might have been the afternoon.
It was the same day
that we recorded our very first podcast.
And we recorded it all about how the Switch could be better, basically.
That the Switch is not doing enough.
It wasn't taking advantage of what it was. And
then Nintendo Direct came out the same day.
Like, they listened to what we said and said, guys, let's get some stuff going.
Yeah.
All right, here's all the things you talked about. And it made our first podcast basically unusable. Because
we deleted it. We
got
rid of it.
We would sound like fools.
Yeah, like Nintendo really needs to do. They did all this stuff.
They literally did everything the same day.
I was really, really excited to see what they had. And so at like 1:55, I got on Nintendo's YouTube page, and I expected there'd be like a live video going on.
That's usually what it is.
Yeah, and just like a pre-video, whatever. And I'm like, hey, nothing's happening.
25 minutes long.
You know, and I'm like refreshing, and I'm refreshing. And then at 2:01, I hit refresh, and there's just a new 3.5-minute video up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, is this
different?
Yeah, is this their big announcement? And I watched the video, and I was introduced to Nintendo Labo?
Labo?
Remy Labo. That don't the Nintendo Labo go come down.
When I read it Nintendo Labo.
Labo?
Like a lab.
I like labor, I say Labo.
Okay.
Yeah, Labo.
They're equally true right now.
We're gonna just make it up something different every time.
Sure.
So the Nintendo the
Nintendo lobotomy.
Nintendo's I mean, kind of.
Let's hope that's not part of what comes with the package.
I was shocked. Now, so if you guys don't know what it is, number one, go and
pause this and go watch that.
Go watch
the
it.
Video.
It's 3.5 minutes long, and
then be confused like us.
Yeah, but essentially what it is Nintendo has created peripherals for the Switch that are entirely made out of cardboard.
Yes.
That you build together with your kids, or you build on your own. Like, you build, and then the controllers, the Joy-Cons.
The Joy-Cons.
The Joy-Cons.
They're calling the peripherals or some of it, the Toy-Con. I saw that term on their website, so I don't really know what that's referring to, but
So the Joy-Cons slide into certain parts.
yeah.
And then the actual screen, the console part of the Switch,
yeah.
you can put that in a different part, and like there's what they showed on there was they're like
Showed lots of different
a fishing
varieties.
simulator.
Yeah, like a fishing pole that you like pull it out and there's
piano.
Yeah, piano that like actually registered the notes, which how does that work?
RC cars.
Yeah, there was even like the robot. It basically looked like VR kind of, where you have like a backpack and you're like holding, I assume you're holding onto the Joy-Cons in your hands, and so when you punch, the robot punches.
Right.
Like a whole big variety of different things. There was one that was like, it looked like a drum kick pedal, like as if you were playing the drums, which that one was interesting.
Or maybe it was like a pedal for a car, like
something, yeah, like a gas pedal, I guess.
Yeah. And string. So cardboard and string,
right.
And then the Joy-Cons and the Switch itself.
Right.
And that's pretty much all there is in this. And so what it is it's $70. It's coming out April 20th.
Yep.
Bro, 420! Which begs the question, was Nintendo super high when they came up with this?
Or they just, want to celebrate Hitler's birthday. That's my belief.
So you have all this stuff, and it's $70. It comes out, and it's the cardboard pieces and the software.
Yes. And it's weird.
Yeah. I had a lot of thoughts about it at first, and so where I have landed, I've landed somewhere solid right now, and we'll get to that in a second. But
so better than cardboard.
Yeah,
you are more solid than the cardboard that it's made out of.
But let me tell you the thoughts that I had when I very first came out with it. Number one, on YouTube right now you can find a bunch of different things that are like, this dude made a grabber arm made entirely out of cardboard, or this dude made a Super Mario type game entirely out of cardboard, or whatever. And it's just little things with minor electronics and whatnot. But you watch the video, and the videos are like 10 minutes long, as you need like a PhD in engineering and to be able to do these things. It's like, oh, watch this cool cardboard how-to on how to build a car out of cardboard or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this dude comes in with like a welding gun. You're like, what? How does that work with the cardboard? And I feel like when they're putting together these Toy-Cons, it looks complicated, man.
Some of them do. Some of them look a little easier.
Yeah, of course, right.
But some of them look extremely like they're the fishing one, maybe the robot backpack.
Thing, so the robot backpack thing. They take the cover off the robot backpack, and inside, when you are moving the arms and it's pulling a string, it's a pulley system, and it's moving these levers up and down. And then these levers above them are labeled buttons on the Joy-Cons.
Right.
So in some way, when you pull the handles on the string, that moves those levers, and those levers push buttons on the Toy-Con, and that's how you're able to play the game.
I guess.
Yeah.
The problem here so far is that they've literally just put out the video. Right. There's not really much explanation, which usually is fine, but this is coming out in 3 months.
Right.
They'll announce more about it, I'm sure. We're given basically like a first impressions thing, but we just don't know what it is. And if you're asking us to pay $70 for something, you need to tell us what it is.
It looks really complicated, and I feel like, because if a lot of these games look like mobile games, they're pretty simple.
Yes, they look like early Connect games, or late Connect games. Connect games never got good.
So the games that are complicated, but I still want good response on my gaming.
Yes,
and if it's a cheap cardboard machine, that I don't know if I'll have confidence in that.
Sure.
And so like one of them is a racing wheel, and when they take a cover off, and you see like rubber bands and string and all kinds of crazy stuff in there.
That doesn't seem like it should work. Now, maybe it will.
Right.
Maybe
it might work out great.
Nintendo usually doesn't do something in the last couple, last decade or two, unless they do it well. Yeah, like
Right.
they haven't put out a console that's a piece of crap, whereas both Sony and Microsoft have put out consoles fully aware that there's a strong chance that yours is gonna fail miserably, and they still sold it to you. Nintendo hasn't done that.
That's true.
Like they seem to put more time and effort into making quality hardware. And technically, even though it's very soft as cardboard, this is still hardware.
Hey, corrugated cardboard is pretty hardcore.
Yeah,
right?
I have to punch it with at least half of my strength to destroy it completely.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't imagine, like, some 8-year-old kid is going to get this, and he's going to be so stoked, and he's going to break it in 6 seconds.
Yes, this is going to be the ultimate, like, terrible Christmas present. Like,
Man.
by the end of the day, what you just spent $70 on for your overactive child is destroyed.
Right.
And he's going to be upset about it.
Yeah. And you have to find a way to jury rig it. You better believe, we got to get on this. Okay, here's what we got to do is we got to buy it right away, break it right away, and then post YouTube videos on how to fix certain broken parts.
Just go find a cardboard box, cut it out in the same shape, and there's the problem. There's the problem right there. I just came up with it. It's like Legos. Guys, did you know that you can buy Legos from somebody on eBay and then go to the Lego website and print out literally any set of instructions for any Lego set ever, and you can have that $200 Death Star if you get the right pieces on eBay for $20.
Yep.
Like, you can do that. This is what somebody's going to just make a PDF of the construction, put a cracked version of the software up online, and this is going to be gone. Like, it's going to be so easy to...
Well, Nintendo, I'm going to guess pretty heavily, and this is, again, another one of my original thoughts. I'm going to guess pretty heavily that Nintendo will not sell the software without the hardware, without the cardboard.
Sure.
But they're going to sell the cardboard separately. So if you need to go buy another fishing rod, you can go buy another fishing rod.
Here's another one for you.
Yeah, just in case. Now, I have heard, in their defense, that they will ship you free replacement parts.
Yeah, because it costs them a nickel.
Right. But at that point, you have to put in the requisition form.
Yeah, okay.
And
well,
approve
you
it
can
with
play
HR.
again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, or you can go buy another one for $5. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And when they get a million parents to pay that $5 real quick to essentially buy their hardware twice, that's so much money, man.
Here's my major issue with it that I talked to. As soon as I watched it, I was talking to my wife about it, and the Switch's main selling point to me is, it's got some pretty sweet software on it. It's got Zelda, it's got Odyssey, it's got some pretty good games.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So far, I'm talking right now. Back when it came out, that wasn't really it, except for Zelda. Now it's got some really great games, and to me, any console, it's got to be its major selling point. Software. But another huge selling point is basically it is a mobile system at the same time as it's a system you can play at home on your nice TV.
Right.
That's super cool to play the same exact games on the plane or at home. This kind of goes against that idea of making it mobility. Because if you really like this game, you have to be at home to play it, because you're not gonna want to get on the plane with your robot backpack on and punching. And,
some of these look a little bit small, like the fishing rod one.
Sure, it's still adding more to what you have to carry around to be able to play.
Right.
And there might be ways to play these games without it, but then I don't know. It seems like a gimmick to me.
And here's my thing: it's the problem with any peripheral ever. I can't think of a single peripheral that took off and became a mainstay, whether it be light guns, whether it be the PlayStation Eye, the Kinect,
or the Move,
whether it be any of those things, the Power Glove for the original Nintendo.
What a hit!
Any of these things, they were cool for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But other than that, they just...
It's like 3D movies.
Yeah.
3D in a movie could be really cool. There are movies that take advantage of the technology and use it in a way that's not just, let's make a few extra bucks per ticket. I wanted to make a movie where 3D helps the experience feel a little more immersive. But there has not been a single movie that has come out where if you're not seeing it 3D, then it's not as good.
Yeah.
You can watch literally any movie that's in 3D in 2D and still enjoy it just as much, because at the end of the day, a movie is not about how fancy or pretty it looks. It's about like the story, and it's about the characters. Like there are core things to it that doesn't matter, like the quality of the resolution that you're watching and stuff like that. And that's what games are like. Like I don't care what kind of cool thing, like maybe I can go fishing in Zelda now with that fishing thing. I don't care. Like, who cares? I
can
want
fish
that.
without it.
I already did that. Like I'm already playing this game and I already really enjoy it. I don't care if you add something else that maybe kind of makes it a little more immersive. Like,
right.
I don't really care. You've already gave me a great experience. And none of the things in it seem like they'd be that fun. They like you said, they seem like mobile games.
Are you ready for this, though? So
I don't think so.
I began telling this by saying these were my initial thoughts.
Oh, and now you're at some stupid thought.
I've really gone over it, and I've really thought about it. I like it.
You have children. Here's why you like it, or why you could like it. You have 3 children whom this is made for.
Yes.
Your son Braxton would freaking love this game.
Yes, he would.
He builds things, and it's incredible.
Yes.
He would love to build a robot backpack and then like punch things.
Yes, he would.
Unfortunately, you don't have a Switch, so your price tag isn't $70.
I will
it's
soon.
$370.
I'll have one soon.
Okay,
you won't though.
Oh, okay. I see what you did. Well played. But yeah, that is a great point to it. Like, there are kids who would love this,
right?
Who don't care about playing immersive, story-driven like character drama. They care about, ooh, fun video game. I can punch things like a robot. Ah, sounds awesome. Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Here's what I like about it as a gamer. Nintendo is innovating yet again. This is something, and you know, and this is what I love about it so much, is when gaming companies have innovated before, they've had to go all in with this innovation. So if you're going to develop a camera system that tracks your movements like the Kinect, that costs money. Mm-hmm. And when it fails, balls, that sucks. And all the software and all the stuff you put into it is garbage, and you got to put it in the trash can. If you're going to do the PlayStation Eye, if you're going to do the Move, if you're going to do any of the stuff, the peripherals, you have to invest money in this. Nintendo's investing money in cardboard and some engineers that like made the cardboard. This isn't a huge cost for them, and so they can continue to be like, let's try this. And if this flops, there's no problem with like we already said, these are mobile game-esque. They're not AAA huge games they spend a bunch of money on. They can quietly tuck this away and pretend like it never happened. They can say, ooh, Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link was a huge failure. We're never going to live that down because we banked on Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link, and that's an embarrassment in the history of Zelda video games.
Take away everything everybody liked about Zelda.
Yeah.
Zelda 2.
Now, but with Project Labo, if this flops horrendously, it's not like they put all their marbles in this. They can literally just burn everything.
As people will when it breaks in 20 minutes.
And then tuck it away. But at the same time, if things start to go well, I bet you they can be like, oh, hey, are your Labo cardboard things breaking a lot? Here are plastic Labo peripherals for $30.
That's insidious.
You know what I mean? And, you know, little things like that here and there. Or us as purchasers, consumers, we can try, like you said, we can try and build it ourselves.
Aftermarket.
Aftermarket, and build our own little things here and there. And it's this whole idea that nobody has to go all in. You know, the Kinect when it first came out was like $100 extra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? HD DVD was like $150 extra on the Xbox 360. And these things where you got to go in. But if you pay $70, how much is a game on the Switch right now?
Typical, they've gone up to the match the other, so $60.
$60. You're gonna get, so let's say your typical party game is probably like $50, $45 even. Like your simple party games for any system are a little bit cheaper than normal games.
Usually, because they're usually less quality.
Exactly. So you're spending $15 for cardboard and you're buying a game. You're already prepared to spend that money on buying a game. So you're spending a little bit extra money on cardboard. You're not going to buy this if you don't want to build it. Building is part of the fun.
Sure, I understand that.
So at the end of the day, here's Nintendo coming along and saying, let's all take a chance together. And if this fails miserably, you can probably play these games and do this stuff without the cardboard.
Yeah, if you can't, that would be garbage. Like, that would be
a huge failure.
Terrible.
Yeah.
You need to be able to play them without these stupid cardboard things.
Chances are you can play these games, maybe not as fun or as cool or whatever else, but chances are you can do these things without the cardboard. And so if it all just fails miserably, Nintendo hasn't spent a ton of money on it. You didn't spend much more money than you normally would have on it. And again, it can all be quietly tucked away. But if it's a hit, if it goes insane, we all benefit. Who knows?
You're right.
Maybe it doesn't go insane, but maybe it's good and really cool.
Yeah, it hits their projected, whatever. I guess I just don't care about innovation as much as you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is on like recording. We can.
I don't care about innovation in the sense of let's do the same thing in a different way.
The next time a system comes out, Fox is not allowed to buy it. The next time any upgrades, like a sequel to a game comes out,
that's not
innovation.
That's not innovation.
Nothing new.
Okay, you are confusing innovation with just the progress of technology. This to me is innovation in the sense that when the Hobbit movies came out, it was innovative in the that Peter Jackson shot them in 45 frames per second or whatever it was.
Right.
You're like, oh, it's never been done before. And then you watch it and it looks terrible and it makes the movie watching experience less good because half of it's real. Well, more than half of it's not real.
Right.
The other 20% is real. And you're switching between like different, it just kind of, and you're like, oh, it's never been done before. I want to go back. Like, I want to see it in 2D regular version because I don't care about that. I care about a good movie. I mean, they also didn't really make very good movies either way, so that was just one problem on top of a pile of problems that those movies had. But that's what I feel like the project laboratory is, where
Labo.
Remy Labo.
That's Gambit, if you guys didn't know that. Gambit's real name is Remy Labo.
It just feels like, cool, okay. I get that you want an immersive experience when you're playing a game.
Right.
But do people, like, it's hard for me to ask you because you don't play, like, racing games, but do people who play a racing game using a wheel feel like they're actually driving a car in real life?
I do know that high-end racing wheels are like $300 to $400, like the price of a console.
I'm not saying, they 100%.
For the immersiveness and reality
they probably make it much more actually like responsive to like similar to driving an actual car, but it's not the same. That is not the same as I feel like I'm driving a car.
Right.
You never get 100% immersive. You might be 100% like invested in what's going on. Like Zelda, I never felt like I was an actual person running around Hyrule, like saving the princess and doing all these things, but I was 100% invested in the story that was being told. And it wasn't because I had a cool controller or a sweet cardboard fishing pole.
Yeah, but think, if you had a cardboard Master Sword and you could like swing it at stuff.
That's been a thing.
And you were 9 years old.
That's been a thing.
Would that not be the greatest thing in the world?
Maybe if I was 9. But like that comment on the YouTube channel that it said, it's a great time to be a child. I'm not a child. They are clearly going for a very specific audience here.
Right.
They do not expect me to get this or want to get this. Because it looks stupid to me.
So, okay. I got two things. Number one, I'll say Nintendo is clearly gearing toward families with young kids.
Oh, it's...
Dad or mom to sit right there and help them build this, and then for that young kid to play it.
Yes.
And that is a demographic that both Xbox and PlayStation cannot hit.
Oh, they're in their niche
They
hardcore
suck
right
at
here.
it, you know?
It's real smart.
Yeah, but Nintendo is fantastic with it.
I'm not saying that it's a bad move for them. I think it's smart. I just don't care at all.
So,
as the person with money to spend on their Nintendo stuff.
let me ask you this. Did you ever play Wii Sports?
I did.
What did you think of Wii Sports?
It was a party game. I didn't really play it with unless I was playing with other people.
Right. But when you played with other people, what did you think of it?
It was okay. Like, I didn't really, like, get into it.
Really? You never did?
No, we would play, and it was fun to play, but it wasn't, like...
When it first came out...
I'd rather be playing Zelda.
I had friends that had Wii Sports parties. People would come over, and they would Wii Bowl, and that's what we did for, like, hours, and it was fun. Or Wii Ping Pong, or Wii Tennis, and it was so goofy, and we'd play each other, and then we'd swap controllers, and we'd play each other again. Adults, you know, like, this was college era. Sure. Adults are doing this.
We did that with Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and it was so much fun, and it was great. And that was a $40 game, I think, at the time.
Yeah,
and
sounds about right.
If somebody... I know they came out with the plastic, like, tennis rackets and the plastic ping pong paddle or whatever else, like that stuff that you could slip the Wiimotes into. Mm-hmm. If somebody said to me, instead of paying $15 a pop for all these things, you can pay $20 and get all of them, I guarantee you some of my friends would have been like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah,
but would that have made the game better? Would it have changed anything at all?
I think it would have been more fun.
In what way?
To feel like you're holding a tennis racket while you're jumping around with a tennis racket.
Do you actually feel like you're playing tennis when you're playing Wii Tennis or whatever?
It's for the novelty of it, though. It's just a literal novelty.
To me, it is literally unnecessary.
Oh yeah,
literally unnecessary, and therefore, why get it? If it's not going to change the game in any way and make it more... Okay, I can't say it's not going to make it more enjoyable because somebody might find it more enjoyable to actually have a tennis racket on the end of their, controller for some reason. But it's not necessary to the game. It doesn't change anything about the game. It doesn't add on any there was the Wii Motion Plus that you could add on for certain games, but it also affected other games, I think. That's a solid thing to add on to your thing. It literally changes and makes the game more enjoyable because now you have a much better response to your control. But adding on a plastic tennis racket, to me it's the hardware equivalent of shovelware. It's like, hey, dumb parents that have kids who just get this for them, they'll go crazy about it. You're paying $20 for a 50-cent piece of plastic.
And that's what I appreciate about it is it's not, or it's kind of that.
It is that, just cheaper.
Significantly cheaper.
Does that change the fact that it doesn't change anything? Okay, we can't say it doesn't change anything in the game. Maybe it does. I don't know. But
I imagine that. I mean, especially like the robot one. That I'm not gonna lie, that robot one looks cool.
It looks so dumb to me.
What?
I've played robot mech games before, and they were perfectly fine without having a backpack that I was wearing.
You never wanted to go and punch a building as a robot.
I did. Playing video games. I didn't need to feel like I was the robot. I was enjoying being the robot in the video. There's always a level of... There will always, always, always be a level, no matter how realistic VR gets, of... what's the suspension of disbelief? There's always going to be a disconnection between the game and reality, no matter how immersive your game gets.
You need that, otherwise it would be terrifying to play Call of Duty.
Got the new Advanced Warfare. It's been shell-shocked ever since.
Yes. PTSD. I watched my friends die. All of them. They're okay. You're going to see them at school tomorrow. But there was blood everywhere. Oh.
It just happened over and over again.
And they respawned, and I watched it again.
What's going on?
Their brains were on my uniform.
And that's... I really hope that those, like that fishing rod thing, if you don't have that, then the game is less good. You should be able to play it, but that thing should add on to the not just the enjoyability, like immersion, but actually affect the game itself. Like, oh, we notice you don't have a thing. Well, if you had that, it would be you could have a more accurate cast or something like that in your fishing game. Or maybe the robot backpack, you are more powerful now. That's like your power backpack, and you can punch a building twice as hard. You can still play it without it, and you can still enjoy the game, but I feel like those things should directly affect your in-game thing, like, as well as your outside immersiveness. Like, I feel like I'm a robot now because I've got, like, robot things on me, or I'm literally casting a rod. Maybe this, if they don't, then it's just shovelware. Doesn't matter how much it costs for them or me. It's literally unnecessary, and you might as well just be building a Lego set.
Let me ask you this. First of all, building a Lego set is awesome.
Oh, I love it. I'm not saying that, hey, look, building things is fun.
Let me ask you this. Let's say it's an FPS. You've been playing a lot of FPSs recently.
Yeah, but they're old ones. You sure, go ahead.
And there's a peripheral that is a gun. And it plays exactly the same. But if you are a talented marksman, you can transition that ability into this video game. And therefore, like, maybe the joystick is on the barrel or the butt or something like that. And so you can move forward. It's like Fallout 4, and you can move wherever you want. But you've got your gun on your shoulder and you're looking down a sight. And then when you see a guy come up on screen, you point your gun and you shoot him. Mm-hmm. And because you are a talented marksman, you aim better with that gun than if you had a controller in your hand. Would that be cool? Would you say that's cool?
Well, because you're actively changing how the game works. You can actually shoot at the screen at a certain point and be more accurate, or maybe faster or something. Right. Like, it'd be cool if I'm playing the Switch or whatever, and there's like a gun peripheral, but it just comes like it's like a bare bones, like it's just a stock rifle, and then in the game, or on the Switch, I can put on a like iron sights, and now I have that in the game. Like, if it directly affects the game, then it's worth buying. Even if it, then it's...
But the game plays exactly the same way. Again, this FPS plays exactly the same way, with or without the gun.
No, you just said that you said you would be able to aim down the gun at the screen.
Right, but all it does is just move the cursor, just like you would move the cursor with your joystick, with your controller.
Well, no, because that's a different thing. If I'm just moving it, like, with the joystick, or if I'm actually pointing it at the...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but those are different play styles.
Right. Really what I'm getting at is Resident Evil 4 for the Wii had exactly that.
Okay.
It was a gun that you could clip the Wiimote into, and it had a joystick on it and buttons on it.
Right. Yeah,
and
I remember
could
seeing that.
Aim at the screen and shoot things. And that was super cool. It was a peripheral, and it was fun to be able to, like, shoot things and whatnot. Now, here's the Labo, and you could have fish, and you got your controllers, and you could cast with your joystick and whatever else, and it plays exactly the same. Or you could have a fishing line, and you can aim where your line goes with this fishing pole, that cardboard fishing pole that you have. And when you cast, it casts for you, and when you reel, it reels. Like, it's this immersive experience, and the game plays exactly the same, but you're able to translate your fishing skill and your fishing enjoyability into this game because of the peripheral that's there.
If it doesn't actually change what you do in the game, like if you can reel faster when you can actually reel instead of just holding down a button, sure, get it. But if it's the same exact thing, then to me it's just shovelware. It's just it's horse armor. It's like, hey, that's cool, and yeah, it feels like but it actually doesn't translate to the game because the game is about how it plays.
No, the game is about how you play it.
Right, but if your gameplay doesn't change, even though you got this cool new thing, then
your gameplay changes dramatically. Your gameplay changes because you are not pushing a button, you're turning a reel. And that is much more immersive of fishing when you were spinning a reel.
Are you reeling in faster? Are you...
No, you're reeling.
Okay, but you could accomplish the same thing by pressing a button.
But you're not reeling.
You're not actually reeling in real life either. You're spinning a thing.
That's what reeling is.
No, you're not reeling in a string. The string is virtual on a computer, on a screen.
Right.
So unless you're in a boat out on a lake casting a line and reeling in actual fishing line, then you are not being a fisherman. You are pretending to be one.
But it's immersion.
Sure, it could be. Look, like I said, I'm not the person this is after.
Right.
I don't care about that crap. I can get I feel like I can get just as immersed in a game as I can without that, and I'd rather not pay $70 to feel like, to be able to pretend more like I'm a fisherman. I think that all peripherals should have an actual measurable effect on the gameplay.
So, let me ask you this then. Let's pretend there's a Legend of Zelda game for the Switch, and it's very good. I don't know if that will ever happen, but...
Probably not.
Now suddenly there are Joy-Cons that with the Legend of Zelda logo on it. And they cost more money than the average Joy-Con. But it has the logo of Legend of Zelda. Is that shovelware?
I mean, if you don't... It's... Yeah, I mean, I guess. They're actual, like...
It doesn't change anything in the way you play the game, but you enjoy it more because it has the logo of Legend of Zelda on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's shovelware. Well, I mean, shovelware is not really... Yes. It doesn't
actually affect... Is that a bad thing?
It doesn't actually affect the game. No, like, I have a... It wasn't any more expensive than it was to get, like, a blank carrying case, but I have a Zelda carrying case for the Switch, and I got it specifically because I like Zelda, but it wasn't any more expensive, so that's a bad example. Yeah, I think you're a sucker if you buy a controller just because it has a picture on it or a logo. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, no, I get it. I like Zelda, but you're not, like, supporting a new Zelda game by buying it. You're just giving the same money to Zelda or to Nintendo.
But you wouldn't pay $10 more for Joy-Cons.
Oh, absolutely not.
Really?
Not at all. I would get the cheapest ones I could find. I would probably get like actual like Nintendo brand.
Right. The cheapest, best functioning
the
ones.
cheapest, yeah, at the same time.
The
cheapest. Yeah, but I don't care about aesthetic quality. I would say that getting like that real, even if it doesn't actually affect gameplay, is a step higher than getting Zelda Joy-Cons because they're Zelda. Because they're actually, yeah, that immersion, I'm not saying you're wrong about the immersion. Right. I don't care about that because I've been playing video games for most of my life now, and if I needed something like that to get into video games, I would have stopped a couple months after I started playing video games.
Of course you don't need it.
Exactly.
But it's fun.
There's the point. I'm not saying it's fun or it's not fun, but to me, I don't think $70 for some cardboard that actually, hypothetically, we're being very hypothetical right here.
Of course.
Because all these
we don't
things,
know a lot of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't actually affect the gameplay, if I can play the game exactly, like, in the same, I can play the same game the same way, the game is the same without that peripheral, I think that's just a sucker's bet then. Like, I don't know, who cares?
Well, for those of us with souls and imaginations, it's real fun, just so you know.
No, cool. It's great. I'm not saying you can't have fun and do it. I just don't think it's necessary. And I think it's...
of course it's not necessary, but playing video games isn't necessary. Like, you could argue that reading a book is, you imagine it just as much as a video game, and it's just as immersive. You're imagining yourself.
You could argue that. You'd probably be wrong because they're completely different, like, ways to... movies and games, like, they're all different methods. There are all different methods to do the same thing.
Right.
But they're not the same thing.
The same method. But again, you could argue that, it's all just escapism, and I can escape in a movie, and it's significantly cheaper than buying a $300 system plus a $60, whatever. Like,
oh yeah, you could argue that.
Yeah, you could argue that.
You'd be wrong.
But at the same time, the point is, yeah, but I have more fun with video games.
Great.
And I enjoy that more. And I think that's what's coming out of the Labo is that, and again, I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. It's not necessary at all. And if Nintendo was saying, here's this $60 $60 fishing reel for the game, and you have to buy just this fishing reel, and here's this $60 piano, and here's this $60 backpack, and here's this $60 house, and all the other cardboard things, then I'd be like, yeah.
Oh, I sincerely doubt that everything that's in that video is in the $70 one-time price.
Oh, I think it is.
That would be shocking to me.
Yeah, I think it's one piece of software.
I'm fairly certain I read on the thing that there are different kits.
Oh, really?
Yes. to get all of that for $70, that would be crazy.
I think it is.
Yeah,
look it up.
Let's look it up real quick.
Look it up real quick. But meanwhile, while you're looking it up, my point is that they are saying that this is going to be cheaper. This is all of us testing together. This is all of us taking a chance together, as well as an opportunity for you to get in there and promoting STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
Yeah, no, it's real cool.
And or actually, I guess it's STEAM now: science, technology, engineering, art, mathematics. And that's
why is art included?
I don't know
in the STEM,
but it is. Yeah,
so
it's STEAM now.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I think it's something that it's a real good chance to take. And again, at the end of the day, if it fails miserably, you still have software that you can play. The game, I'm sure, will work just fine.
Let's hope so.
And
yep. Sorry. Update. Toy-Con 1 Variety Kit, $69.99. Toy-Con 2 Robot Kit, $79.99.
Okay.
It is not all included.
Is it just those two, though?
Those are the two that have been announced.
So the first one is everything but the robot kit.
Possibly. We don't know. They haven't really told us. But there are more than one. You don't get everything for $70.
Right, but you get the variety kit is more than just one thing.
Oh, sure. I'm sure it's a few little things.
Right. So
piano, the birdhouse looking one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a driving pedal thing.
So, but it's several things.
Sure.
And that's kind of my point is that with other peripherals, you pay individually usually, and they're also separate. Like you can buy the game and you can buy the peripheral. And you have to pay for both individually. This, it seems like, is just going to be cheaper.
I would rather them have spent the money on making the next Zelda.
But this is a totally different department. This is like, I mean...
It's still Nintendo spending money on something. I would rather... No, they're spending money on making peripherals and making games to play like with those peripherals.
They have the money and the people to do both.
Sure. I would rather them have spent this money as well on a new Zelda.
I don't think you understand how that works.
Why not?
They want to spend X dollars on a new Zelda, and so they commit every cent of that to a new Zelda, and they have money left over.
Okay, so why not take the rest of that money and make the next Zelda?
Because
add that to the budget for the next one, or the new Metroid, or the new...
Well, we're getting way off topic here, but it's a give and take.
I disagree. This is one of my things with it. I don't care about this crap. I would rather have a... I don't...
They're only going to put as much money into something compared to how much money they think they can make from something. Now, I'm sure that's a hojillion dollars with a new Zelda, but... So they want to put a fraction of one hojillion in there, and so they commit that fraction of one hojillion, and they don't want to spend any more money than that.
Okay, look, I get what you're saying. I bought Zelda for $60 and got at least 150 hours of incredible gameplay out of it. It is now one of my favorite games of all time.
Right.
And I haven't even played the new, the story DLC they put out. I haven't even played that yet. There's more that I paid $20 for that, so I paid $80 for 2 DLC things plus a base game that I spent hundreds of hours playing. Do you, based on the little information we've seen, do you think that somebody is going to get 150 hours out of that robot punching game?
I don't think that someone like you
for $80
is going to get $150. But here's what I will say. I literally just finished a conversation with a person this morning that said, I played 20 or 30 hours of Zelda Breath of the Wild and got bored with it and stopped playing.
You know they're the minority, right? It literally was the best game of the entire year.
Minority or not, that person or other people, like a 9-year-old kid, might do the exact same thing. And so instead of that, here's something that they might get 100 hours out of, including building time. You think
there's going to be a kid who plays that robot punching game for 100 hours?
Absolutely.
They're not going to get bored of a mobile game that they have to build and wear this backpack for.
My son has probably gotten 50 or 60 hours of Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse.
50 or 60 hours? Really?
Yeah, easy.
Okay. Hey,
easy.
Look, I'm skeptical, but I can't say
currently
yes or no.
He's probably 40 hours into Lego Batman 3 and still playing it strong.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things where if a kid really likes something, he plays, like, he has beaten Lego Batman twice and asked to go back to the beginning of it.
Sure.
Same thing with Castle of Illusion. He'll just do the exact same thing over and over and over again, and he loves it because kids can do that.
Oh yeah, no,
and
I did the same thing.
Right.
I don't doubt that.
And that's what this is geared toward. Some kid is gonna love being a robot every day, couple hours a day, 5 days a week.
Every couple
months.
weeks after they break their cardboard thing and have to get a new one.
But again,
they're literally
that's where Nintendo can be like, all right, $5 for some replacement parts.
How often are the parents
like
going to be like, all right, let's just go get a new one?
Someday you'll be a parent, Fox.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
How many? Okay, you spent $80 on this game at the start.
Yep.
And Braxton breaks it. Let's give him a month before he breaks it. And you'll say, okay, $5 for a new one.
Easy.
Okay, another month. How many times will you do this before? Okay, it's not even worth it anymore. Just play the game without
until
this.
he stops playing it.
Just play the game without this.
$5 a month. Oh, if he can play the game without it normally, if he can play it with the big backpack and everything.
No, if he can play the game without all that stuff, because that's gonna break.
No, if he cannot play it with the backpack anymore.
No. I'm saying, if he can play it without that, how long before you just say, you know what, just play the game. I don't want to go buy it again.
Never.
Really?
Easy.
Without
question.
Again, am very skeptical.
Yeah, no. Again, someday you'll be a parent. If it's $5 and I can have an excuse to run to GameStop real quick, it's $5 a month. That's $60 a year.
Mm-hmm. And now you put $140 into a single game.
I will throw that at Nintendo without
issue. We have this on record now.
Yeah, without complaint.
Well, actually,
I do that right now.
Actually, you don't have a Switch, so at that point, let's just say you bought it to play that game. You've now put $440 into it just to play the robot game.
Well, no. If I buy a Switch, I'm buying crap for me too, son.
Okay, so now you're putting hundreds of more into other games for you. Like this is a pretty big investment.
Yeah, but it's no longer for the robot game. It's for the Switch.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, someday you'll have kids, and you'll get this a little bit more, but being able to not have to hear them say, like, this isn't the same, I don't like it, it's disappointing, or to see them sad for a while, I'll pay $5 a month so my kid doesn't look sad.
When you were a child, we're gonna get into the back in my day now. Did you need a robot backpack to really love a video game? How much time did you put into Final Fantasy VII without a fancy peripheral? How much did you pay for Final Fantasy VII?
Well, Final Fantasy VII didn't come with a peripheral. And see, this is where I think there's some backward thinking here is you think there's a game and you can have this peripheral. Steel Battalion. Steel Battalion could have been played with the controller, but if you bought Steel Battalion with that huge rig,
you put several $100 into
like $200.
You were one of the 6 people that did.
And then that rig breaks. You could still play Steel Battalion, but man, it's just not as fun as it was without that huge rig. Because it began with the rig and the game.
Okay, but how many of the greatest games of all time have a peripheral?
Do you think this is the goal of this is to be the greatest game of all time?
And right there, I think that's the problem. That's not innovation anymore. That's just, let's make a cheap thing for parents to buy their kids.
For fun.
Yes.
That's like 90% of video games, right?
I think you can have it both ways. You can have your cake.
I've heard
it
both
too.
ways.
You can Ocarina of Time, incredibly fun. Didn't need an extra peripheral to play.
Right.
There's all these I think it's an unnecessary addition to a formula that's already pretty perfect. You can make an amazing game without having to add an additional thing outside of it that is literally unnecessary.
Do you think that that Breath of the Wild is universal? That everybody will enjoy it as much as you did?
It is literally the greatest game of the year.
Right. One of all time.
Acclaim.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So it's pretty easy to say that most people are going to like it pretty
all
heavily.
ages, all people, 100% equally.
Yeah. I liked Zelda when I was 10 years old. This is just the new Zelda. Ocarina, it replaced my earlier favorite game, Ocarina of Time, when I got it on the N64 when it came out.
I think that there will be a lot. I know for a fact there are a lot of people who either didn't like it or didn't like it as much or just wasn't great. I know there are kids that will sit down and be like, this is too hard, or this is boring, or this is not for me, or whatever else. Like, that's why there are different genres of games. This is an entirely different niche. Like, Nintendo can't exist. Nobody can exist trying to make the same thing over and over again forever.
That's why the film industry is failing and is terrible right now.
Yeah, exactly.
No. There's no such thing as a new story. People have been watching the same story since, like 1910.
Why?
And there's still incredible movies that come out every year.
Why are there 4 Sharknadoes?
Oh, you understand that, like, that's a complete, like, because it makes a cheap, quick buck for the producers because people are stupid and will watch them.
You're mocking the people who enjoy them. Some people just like them and think they're fun.
Yeah, and I think that's stupid.
Why are you judging these people on their enjoyments?
Because that's a stupid movie. It's literally made by Asylum Films, and they actually just take, like, regular movies that are produced, make cheap, terrible versions of them, so they can push them off on people who don't care or don't know, and make a quick buck off of it.
And nobody is hurt in the process.
That's kind of similar to what's happening right now.
And I agree with you in that
Nintendo is taking something that could be done better by making more durable things or just making better games. I'd rather have, instead of 10 cheap mobile games that have cool, like, weird peripherals, rather have one Zelda Breath of the Wild. But they can probably make a quick buck if they make these cheap things, mobile games with cheap cardboard peripherals that parents will buy for their kids because they don't care about the games.
You know that there are a lot of people in the world that would rather watch Sharknado than Lady Bird, right?
I do.
And
I think that's a detriment to the overall, like, movie industry and the art form of movies.
But that's your opinion, and people don't have to agree with you.
Agreed, but they should.
No, they should.
They should.
That is a very close-minded view.
Okay, why are you... You have Braxton play Lego Batman, and you have Braxton play Epic Mickey. Why don't you just get him, like, the Frozen game or something?
We have. He didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, because it's a less quality game. Like, he's playing games that are enjoyable and easy and, like, fun to play.
No, Lego Batman is quality. Mickey is not.
Oh, I heard.
It's a mobile.
I guess I was thinking.
It's a mobile game.
Oh, I was thinking the first one wasn't, though. Is that the sequel or?
No, this is not
Mickey
Epic
games.
Mickey.
Oh,
this is not Epic Mickey.
I was thinking Epic Mickey. I'm sorry.
No, this is a platforming mobile-esque game that you can also download for the PS3, and it's shovelware. It's Disney shovelware, but he loves it, and we paid $10 for it.
Oh, good. You're helping your argument.
Yeah.
Bunch of crap, but he likes it.
And he likes it, and it cost us $10, and I am 100% fine with that.
All right.
There's nothing wrong with it. Nobody's getting hurt through it, and he's really enjoying it. Why would I say he can't play that? He has to learn how to play Breath of the Wild.
You wouldn't. You shouldn't.
Right.
I understand what you're saying. This whole time been talking personally. I don't care about the
of course
laborious thing.
Right.
I care about games that are my whole point is I think they should have spent their money on something better. Something that's more interesting, something that's not just a cheaper version of something it's not innovative at all to me. And it is a cheaper version of something that's been done a million times, and every single time it's something that kind of falls by the wayside because it doesn't have any stay power.
And my point is,
as you said before, there's never been a
successful peripheral
that's been successful or stood the test of time. I would buy a Nintendo 64 right now and not get any dumb peripheral for it, or a PS2 or whatever, and still be able to play all the great games on it.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be the same exact thing with this. This is going to be a blip in the history of video games.
I 100% agree with you.
And therefore, we know that, and it should not be supported because of it.
And say I disagree with that part.
Okay.
It will exactly be a blip in the history, and it will come and it will go, and that's fine. That's great, and it'll be fun for a while. I mean, how often do people pay $70 to have fun for a blip in time? To go out to a good meal, for people to go out and watch a 2-hour movie with their family, with like a family of 4, that's like $100. You know?
I think that's a poor use of your money.
And at the end of the day, though, it's what people choose to do for fun.
Yeah.
And if people want to pay $70 to have fun and with their kid building a thing and doing that, and they hope that in the future Nintendo continues to innovate for something like this, maybe it's not Labo anymore, maybe it's something entirely different that will be a new blip in history, but they want to pay $70 to have fun with that blip in history, I think that's good. I think it's good for Nintendo to come out with new exciting things, even if it's a temporary excitement, for any video game company to come out with what may be a temporary excitement for a blip in time, but people will enjoy it and pay the money for it. I think it helps.
More power to
everybody.
them. I think it's a gimmick.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you guys think about Project Labo, of what's going to go on. Let us know what you think of peripherals and how that's going to go down in time. And let us know how wrong you think Fox is.
Oh, yeah, all of you are already typing. That's fine.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Remember, save games, save lives.
Bye.